Okay. So good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon. I'm just starting off, okay? So the term biotechnology, it means fusion of biology along with new techniques to improve. So you need to use technology to bring out new useful products and other services, okay? So technology apply panni improvement of biological products, okay? So the first EFB, European Federation of Biotechnology, was the one who gave the term the biotechnology and used its organisms and science to improve the biology. Then research areas will be the research areas which were improved through biotechnology were a microbe being used, creating conditions for engineering, and something called downstreaming processing. So, in the moon combination, say the moon factors, they have used it in biotechnology. Now, coming to the principles on the application pathona, the major two principles will be genetic engineering and maintenance of correct conditions for microbial purposes. So sterile conditions maintain பண்றதுக்கு this was very useful. Okay, so that the microbes can be grown in the labs and the laboratories on a special medium. So in the ரெண்டுத்திலையும் you find most of the applications. So coming to genetic engineering. Genetic engineering, and I suppose what is engineering? Something you modify to bring about a structural change in the entire thing. That's what they do. Okay. So same type, gene la vandu anything you change and bring out a new kind of gene, we call it as genetic engineering. Okay, genetic engineering was first given by Paul Berg, and he is called as the father of genetic engineering. So இப்போ genetic engineeringல என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க? What do they do in that engineering? Guys, what do they do in genetic engineering? என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க? It is something like hybridization method. So something like hybridization. You want to have the desirable genes. So on the desirable genes, use பண்ணி we remove the undesirable genes. So எது தேவையில்லையோ that remove பண்ணி எது தேவைப்படுறதோ that you introduce to them so that you get a new kind of gene. So biotechnology க்கு இன்னொரு genetic engineering இன்னொரு பேர் என்னது? What is another name for genetic engineering? What is the other name for engineering, genetic engineering? What's another name? Another name is recombinant DNA technology, which is also called as gene cloning. That's the name given to it. RNA, rDNA technology, recombinant DNA technology. It was first introduced by Cohen and Boyer in 1972. So that's the period which was given out. So we use different kinds of structures for making a genetic, RNA, rDNA technology. So you use certain specific locations in that particular gene to bring out this technology. So we use something called molecular scissors. So with the discovery of molecular scissors, which is also called as restriction enzymes. So restriction enzymes can repair molecular scissors. So once this was discovered, it was easy to isolate and transform the genetic part of any particular organism. Recombination of DNA sequences. So first one which was done is seen in the case of E. coli. It linked with plasmid DNA. So plasmid DNA, which is the first technology, the recombinant DNA was produced. Okay. Now, what are the different tools of recombinant DNA technology? What are the different tools? So you need certain enzymes to do that. And then you need cloning vectors. So something like DNA. So where you want to clone it. Replications பண்றதுக்கு. Then you need something called a competent host, a host which can take the new genetic format and then which can multiply. So you need a host for it. So in the mono irundada, you have the recombinant technology. Now coming to the first one, which is called as the enzymes. So enzymes, We already read it when we did the genetics part. So DNA technology la use பண்ற enzymes are restriction enzymes, synthesizing enzymes, joining enzymes, lysing enzymes, and alkaline phosphatases. What do you mean by lysing? What is lysing? What is lysing?
Used to open up the cell DNA.
Lysing enzymes are the ones to open the DNA substance, that means unwinding of it, so that we can use to dissolve the bacterial cell wall. So you need to open the cells to get that particular DNA for genetic experiments. So you have to once remove the DNA part. So adukku what they do, they dissolve the bacterial cell wall to get this particular DNA. Okay, so lysozyme is commonly used to dissolve the bacterial cell wall. Okay, and coming to the restriction enzymes, restriction enzymes are the nothing but the cleaving enzymes, that is to break down the DNA molecules. So they are generally termed as nucleases. The restriction enzymes are given a name which are called as nucleases. Now, restriction enzymes, you have different types of restriction enzymes. You have exonucleases, endonucleases. Exonucleases are generally used to cleave the DNA material or split the DNA material from the terminal ends of the strands, and it happens in only one of the strands. ஒரு strandல terminal endல to break பண்றதுக்கு you use exonucleases of that one of the strands of the duplex. The same way you have endonucleases which can be done within the DNA itself, and this also works only on one strand of the DNA complex. So exonucleases outside that are ends, endonucleases inside the DNA. Okay, the chemical composition of the DNA. Then restriction enzymes were found in Arbor, that was first raised in Arbor in 1962. So they are the ones which actually act as molecular scissors, and they're also called as chemical scalpels. So chemical scalpels is another name given to the restriction enzymes. Okay, now restriction enzymes are the main work in other. What do they do? What do they do? So they recognize what has to be done on the DNA specific site, and then they form a basic sequence at palindrome sites. What do you mean by a palindrome? What is a palindrome? What is a palindrome sequence? Palindromic sequence is something which is read in the same way from front to back and back to front. So they recognize only these kind of sequences so that they are symmetrical. So they are read in the same way. Something like 5-3- end and 3-5- end, when you read them, they are in the same sequence.
Malayalam.
Innama? What is it?
Malayalam and the word madriya, ma'am.
Yeah, something like Malayalam. Yes, that's a palindrome. Read front and back. If a sequence number nedutona, suppose if I say the sequence is GAATTC, that's the sequence 5-3- end. When you read it from back to front, again it will be the same way in the opposite way. That is CAATTC. So front to back, back to front, it reads the same. So that is palindromic sequence. So in the Mari sequence, it will start using the restriction enzymes. Now restriction enzymes of ECO, that is Escherichia coli R1, this particular one is seen in the colon bacteria, which lives in the colon, which is nothing but the Escherichia coli. So the name given ECOR1 is found in Escherichia coli in human intestine in the colon region. So every region will have a specific bacteria or specific organism which is named in that particular manner. Okay, so this E. coli, the one I gave you sequence GAATTC is recognized by E. coli in the colon of the human intestine, and this can actually duplex, and it cuts the strand between G and A. So I gave you GAATTC. So in the GA nadula, it will break down the strand. So what happens? It occurs in GT from front to back. If a 5 dash, 3 dash. So, okay, 1 second. I'll just share the screen. We will look at it, how it happens. See, suppose I am doing it G. If I'm using this GAATTC. So the next one will be a palindrome. So it starts with the reverse way. It is, did I share the screen for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
CTTA. So this is the palindrome. Ilya. So the enzyme E. coli in the colon will cut the enzyme, cut the sequence between G and A here. And then again it will cut at the palindromic thing the same way here between G and A in the opposite direction. So this is a 5 to 3 end and this is a 3 to 5 end. So palindromic sequence. So depending upon how they are restricting and how they're using the enzymes, we have 3 different types. Okay. Now where do we find endonucleases? Where do you find endonucleases? I told you inside the DNA. If in the restriction enzymes, what I said about this E. coli is an endonuclease. So it lives within the colon of the human intestine. So this is an endonuclease. If endonucleases, you have 3 different types of endonucleases. What are the 3 different types of endonucleases? What are the 3 different types?
Restriction endonuclease.
So you have restriction 1 endonucleases, 2 and 3. So restriction 1 endonucleases, it will have 3 subunits. Okay. And what do they require? What are the important substances which are required to use these restriction enzymes? Enna thevapadu restriction. Type 1, 3 subunits. It requires ATP, Mg2, that is magnesium ions, and something called S-adenosyl methionine. S-adenosyl methionine is also important for restriction. In the mono irundada, there is a restriction which occurs. And type 1 restriction endonucleases, they will recognize very specific sites within the DNA. Site recognition mattunnam pannu, they will not cut the sites. Cutting it will not do. It will only recognize the sites inside. That is type 1. Type 2 restriction endonucleases need magnesium ions, and these are the main ones which are using for cutting the sites. So type 2 we use in recombinant DNA technology. So the technology uses type 2 type endonucleases because they can be used inside to recognize as well as to cut the specific sites. Adanala we use only the type 2 as in recombinant technology. Okay. Now this consists of DNA sequence specifica cut agara edam it will consist of 4 to 8 nucleotides, and it causes unmethylated sites. What do you mean by unmethylated sites? So cutting enga nadakkum 4 to 8 nucleotides nadula unmethylated sites. What is without methylation? So what is methylation? What is methylation? Methylation enna enaduma? DNA methylation, what is that called as? So you add methyl groups to that particular sequence of the DNA molecule. So what happens when you add methyl groups to that particular one? The DNA sequence will change. Okay, the activity will change without changing the DNA sequence. Sequence maradu, only adoda activity or nature mattum marum. So it converts into methylated DNA. So this DNA is specifically used for inhibiting transcription. Inhibiting transcription nadakama tadukkaradhukku you need methylated DNA sequence. Okay. So coming to the type 3 endonucleases. Type 3 intermediate between 1 and 2, and they have both the activities, but still they are not used in recombinant DNA. So they are used, generally not used in this particular technology. So what is the first restriction endonuclease is found? What was the first one? The first one, endonuclease, is what? HIND, HIND2. Okay, which is called as HIND2, which is a specific DNA nucleotide which was isolated from Haemophilus influenzae. So the influenza causing bacteria. So what is it? Virus, sorry. So HIND2 influenzae. So அங்கேந்து வந்து first எடுத்தது வந்து this particular restriction endonuclease. Okay, and you want me to go through all the types of restriction enzyme sources? You want that? உங்களுக்கு enzymes பேரெல்லாம் வேணுமா?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I won't give you the recognition sequences. I'll just give you the specifications. And let me see whether I can get a chart for this. Sir, idu last la paakalam idu mattum. I will try to take out a chart and explain to you. Idu last la paakalam idu mattum. Restriction enzymes sequence apparama paakalam. We will finish up the theory first. Okay. HIND2 vandu, the HIND2 what I gave a specific one, it will always cut DNA molecule at a particular point by recognizing 6 base pairs. Let me check if I can take it out. Okay, 6 base pairs vandu recognize panna parama, it will cut into a specific sequence at that particular place, and it has blunt ends. Ends vandu adodathu vandu restriction enzyme adodathu vandu it will be blunt in shape. Restriction enzymes will cut the DNA a little away from the palindrome sequence. Konja durathila from that sequence it will cut. Okay, but it will cut between the same 2 bases at the opposite ends. Just like I showed you, it will cut at the same junction between the 2 ends in a palindrome sequence. Konja durathila cut pannu, not exactly there. Okay, and ipa cut panna marapa enagum, the strands become separated. That means they are loose now because the bases are cut at specific ends. So now what happens? These ends which are cut are called as sticky ends or cohesive ends. Now they are cut. So in the ends vandu நம்ம எடுத்துட்டு we can use it in some other place. இல்லையா, இந்த DNA piece vandu we will insert in some other DNA and then we'll produce a new type. So these are called as sticky ends or cohesive ends. Okay, and the sticky ends will facilitate the action of a specific enzyme which is called as the ligases. So ligases are for joining the DNA. So these will be used as DNA ligases. Okay, now restriction enzymes will have both the strands of DNA molecule at the same site. Restriction enzyme எல்லாமே வந்து ஒரே சைட்ல தான் இருக்கும், so that the resulting ends will have the blunt ends. So same type of restriction enzymes ku ஒரே morphology irukum. They still have the same blunt ends because they are doing the same job. So same will have same type of external appearance, and they have blunt also called as flush ends. Blunt ends ki innoru peru flush ends, in which the 2 strands will end at the same point. So rendu strands ore edathila dhaan cut agum, ore edathila dhaan ore shape la ore size la it will be present. Now coming to specific naming of the particular enzyme.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am.
Yeah, I had an internet unstable and kaamchu. Now is it okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, because nadunadala internet something is dropping. Nomenclature of an enzyme eppadi pannuvom namba? We derive it from the particular prokaryotic cell from which the enzyme is extracted. So எந்த செல்ல இருந்து நம்ம enzyme எடுக்கிறோமோ அதை வச்சு தான் naming பண்ணுவோம், which is called as the nomenclature, specific nomenclature. So and the first letter, so what does the first letter indicate? It is generally written with a capital letter. So first letter of the genus becomes the first letter of the enzyme. So இப்ப நம்ம Escherichia coli எடுத்துக்கும் போது the first letter becomes the first letter of the enzyme also. Okay. இப்ப the first two letters of the species which we write it as second and third letters. Okay. Those are written and the small letters. Now I took for Escherichia coli. Okay, coli first two எடுத்திருக்கோம், ரெண்டு எடுத்திருக்கோம், E வந்து ஒன்னு எடுத்திருக்கோம். So we have written it as something called ECO. So E we took it from the genetic name, coli from the place where it is obtained. So CO is written in small letters, E is written in capital letter. So that's how you name it. So E. coli, ECO, that is Escherichia coli. Naming வந்து அப்படி பண்ணிருக்கோம். And all the three letters will be written in italics. Abdina, we don't write it in capitals, we write it and in italic forms. The slant form you write it. And fourth letter of the enzyme is the first letter of the strain of bacteria. Suppose if I say R, E. coli R, I said R is the strain's name. So name of the strain which will come as the fourth letter. And idu mattum we write it in a capital letter. So the strain is written in a capital letter. Now the Roman numbers which are given after that, I gave you ECO, Escherichia coli, R potu, we put 1, 2 like that numbers, Roman numbers. And the Roman numbers indicate the order in which they are extracted. Suppose 1 kandupudicha 1 nu poduvom. Next adhe genetic form la indu innoru enzyme edutha, then we call it as 2. So the numbers are to indicate the different types of the same genus. Okay, Escherichia coli la inde edutha strains 1 2 separate strains. Okay, first kandupudichadu adukapparama kandupudichu, that's how you name it. Okay, so coming to the synthesizing enzymes. What is synthesizing enzymes? Synthesize பண்றதுக்கு இப்ப கட் பண்ணியாச்சு, திருப்பி ஒரு DNA மெட்டீரியல் synthesize பண்ணனும், புது DNA on a separate template. We use some other template to synthesize this particular one. So there are again two types. They are reverse transcriptases which help in the synthesis of complementary DNA. So complementary DNA eppadi, just we saw that if a protein synthesis பண்ணோம், we took from the RNA and we synthesized on the RNA template so that we produce proteins. Adu vandu we call it as reverse transcriptases. If you are doing it for DNA itself, DNA to DNA, when we call it as, what do we call that? DNA to DNA. DNA polymerases vandu, they will specify that DNA complementary strands are worked on DNA itself, not on RNA. So DNA to DNA is DNA polymerases, and DNA to RNA we call it as transcriptases. Okay, reverse transcriptases we call it. Complementary strands, idu vandu complementary kadiyadu. Okay, then joining enzymes. The joining enzymes are DNA ligases and also called as sealing enzymes. So you need to cut with the restriction enzymes, then you synthesized it on a template, and now you have to join the cut enzymes. So the seal பண்றதுக்கு you need something called DNA ligases, and they seal the fragments by complementary base pairing. Opposite la vandu they seal themselves. Okay, for ligases, TU ligases, that is examples. So they also act as something called molecular glue. In the ligases vandu molecular glue because they will join the DNA fragments by using phosphodiester bonds. So idu vandu entire procedure how it happened. Restrictions, synthesizing enzymes, then joining enzymes. And now a new template is formed with a different sequence of DNA, a recombinant DNA material. Okay, so these are the steps. You understood, or should I tell you something else? Edadu puriliya? You understood? Enama, you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now coming to what are cloning vectors. Cloning vectors in anything. What are cloning vectors? What are cloning
Carry a foreign DNA signal.
foreign DNA? Okay.
Carrier and transporter of DNA fragment.
So something like you clone them using a foreign body, a foreign DNA segments. So you clone for a particular type of gene. Okay, so that you replicate inside a particular cell which is called as the host cell. So ஒரு foreign DNA எடுத்து அது வந்து host cell அப்படியே போட்டு you replicate them by replication. Okay, the vectors which we use can be a plasmid, it can be a bacteriophage, it can be fragments, it can be an yeast artificial chromosomes which is given as YACs, and it can also be a transposons or a normal virus material. எது வேணா இருக்கலாம். Okay, we can use any of these things. But இதுல most important when we look at is plasmid vectors and bacteriophages which are used as commonly in the combinant technology. Now, what is a plasmid and what is a bacteriophage? So, bacteriophage, what are these two?
Bacteriophage is a virus infecting bacteria.
Okay, plasmids, where do you see them? Where do you find them actually? So they are a kind of DNA material which is supposed to be circular in nature. So circular DNA which are double stranded, but they have a circular nature. And
Found in bacterial cells.
Bacterial cells as well as some kind of yeast cells. Konjam yeast cells la kuda you will find this. So they are nothing but extra chromosomal. That means chromosomes extra material which is provided to that particular bacteria or that particular yeast. And they are generally self-replicating. அதே அது தானா வந்து replication பண்ற ஒரு capacity இருக்கிற ஒரு DNA material. So it keeps replicating by itself. இதுல most common vector we look at is PBR 3T2. So 322 PBR, plasmid variety, that's the most common vector we will see. So I'm going to share a screen, just see the vectors, bacteriophage and the plasmid vector. You can see this, Terida? So this is your PBR 3T2 plasmid structure, and this is the bacteriophage which you use it for the cloning. So these two. Now in the PBR vector, so it was first discovered by Bolivar and Rodriguez. And in the plasmids, they are generally essential for all normal cell growth division. And they are restricted to only particular type of host. Ella host work agad. So they are very specific in their hosts. So in the plasmid molecules, may be present as 1-2 copies or multiple copies. They can produce multiple copies or 1-2 copies in the host organisms. Even sometimes 500 to 700 copies they can produce. Okay. So if in the structure when I look at the structure, idla PBR la P suggests what is P? Plasmid. B is for the person who found it, that is Bolivar
and Rodriguez.
For Rodriguez. And the 22 is the number 322.
Number of experiments in laboratory.
Represents the initials of scientists. Scientists, எத்தனை பேர் வந்து கண்டுபிடிச்சாங்க அது 322 number. Okay, now 322 in the plasmidல கொடுத்தது, it is distinguished and developed in the same laboratory. இதுக்கு அப்புறமா கண்டுபிடிச்சது வந்து we gave it as 325, 327, 328 அந்த மாதிரி numbering. So எத்தனை பேர் கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதுக்கு வந்து இந்த 322 number. Okay, so this is your core of your plasmid. Now you can look at the following regions what are present here. You have ORI. So this is the ORI. This is the origin of replication, where the replication occurs. ORI. And this is AMP. AMP. What's the full form of AMP?
Cyclic AMP.
Antibiotic resistant genes. Okay, antibiotic resistant genes. This is the area which is called as the AMP. And unique recognition sites. You have unique recognition sites where you can recognize the particular kind of DNA material. In the origin of replication, it actually produces multiple copies. Copies produce padra edam ORI. In the antibiotic resistant genes, it has ampicillus resistance. Ampicillin resistance. Adanala we call it as AMP. So that particular strain, ampicillin, adukku resistance irukradunala you use this particular one. And it is also resistant to tetracycline. When I say tetracycline, then you write TE. What do you write it as? TET. Tetracycline resistance in the AMP badla you will write TET. Okay. So it can be any site. Right now it is ampicillin, what we are looking at. In the unique recognition sites, there will be present for the special restriction endonucleases to do their work. So cut பண்றதுக்கு வரணும். அதனால அந்த specific sites இருக்கும். Those we call it as unique recognition sites. Okay. So you have two unique sites. மொத்தமா ரெண்டு இருக்கும். So one is called as the PST1 and next it is called PBU1, which are located inside the AMP. You can see the TET here also. So you have two different ones. This is the PST1. You can see it here. And you have the PBU1. It's not marked here. There is one more site. This is for the ampicillin site. So it is located within the AMP gene. So the PST1 is located in the AMP gene. And BAM. So BAMH1, this is present for the TET gene, that is tetracycline gene. You have many for tetracycline. You have the SAL1 and BAMH. Rendu vandu irukku for the tetra thing. Okay. So tetracycline sites. So these are your sites, and some other unique restriction sites are present. The unique restriction sites are the mono. You have the ECO RI1, ECO RB1, and the HIN3 recognition site. So idellame the structure of plasmids where you have different sites for recognition of the particular material. So is it okay? Is it okay? Purinjicha?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Idhula you have something called ROP. It is not marked here right now. ROP it will code for proteins. ROP is a special place where it codes for proteins for the plasmids. Plasmids proteins the replication nadakara sites ROP site. Okay, ROP we call it. So coming to the next one, which is the bacteriophage. You all are familiar with the structure. Okay. So this bacteriophage infects the viruses. That's why it's called a bacteriophage. And the injected DNA is replicated and expressed in the host bacterial cell. Whatever DNA you're injecting into that host cell, it will burst out of the cell. It will burst out of the cell in a lytic pathway. In a lytic pathway, it will burst. And it will start reinfecting the neighboring cells which are present. So inge the pathway pathona, it is a lytic pathway. Apdiye cell burst aayi pakkathula infect pandrathu pathway. Now two phages we actually recognize extensively used for cloning vectors. So we have the lambda type and the phage and the M13 type. So this is what type? What is this type? What I'm showing you right now. So it's the general bacteriophage or a structure. Okay. Difference between lambda type and phage type and M13 type. We will look at the differences now. Lambda phage vector you have a double stranded DNA. Just give me a moment. I'm going to share. Please don't write on this, right? ஒரே நிமிஷம், I'm sharing certain things. So confuse ஆயிடும் உங்களுக்கு. Okay, what you look just now is a lambda phage. நான் அப்படியே வந்து I'm sharing it. See, what is this? We just saw is a lambda one. This is a lambda kind of bacteriophage. You can see it here. In the lambda phage, are you able to see? Okay, in the lambda phage, you can see. What is it? No, or yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the lambda phage vector, you can see it is a double-stranded linear kind of DNA. So, and it consists of a linear kind of genome, which is 48 to 51 base pairs. So 514 base pairs. So it is between 48, 514 base pairs. Idhula 12 bases at each end are unpaired but complementary. So kadasili irukra 12 base pairs vandu, they are not complementary. Okay. They are just complementary, unpaired structures you have, tail fibers. Now, in the ends, when you look at, they are sticky and cohesive, and they are referred to as cohesive end sites. The end ones are all, we call it as cohesive end sites. Second, guys, 1 second. Okay, sorry, ma. Where? Anyway, this is your bacterial lambda one. Okay, so that's bacteriophage. Okay, in the lambda la mottama ethana base pairs, we saw 48 to 51 base pairs, 12 bases. I said they are unpaired. So they have two sites, cohesive end sites, and the sites are important for packing DNA into the phage heads. So these are your capsids or phage heads. Idhula vandu combine pandradhukku it is important. So in the lambda oda important genome is that it consists of a large fragment in the central portion. Center la irukkiradhu vandu, it has a central region in that particular one, which is not essential for lytic infection. Infection ku thevapadada or kind of genome, it has it right in the center of this particular structure. Okay, and this is seen in the bacteriophages, which is not important for infection of Escherichia coli cells. So, this is the important feature of bacteriophages. Okay, now vectors have been designed such that the reason can be substituted or replaced by foreign DNA. That means vectors, they are designed in such a way that they will be able to recognize the particular DNA material. And the vectors cloning of DNA fragments can be done up to 23 kb in up to 23. And there is something called one more, which is M13. I'm going to share that for you. Are you able to see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is M13. This is M13 phage vector, which is filamentous, which also infects Escherichia coli, which has pili in it. What is pili? What is F pili? What is F pili, ma? What is pili, by the way, in bacteria? What is pili?
Add like appendages.
Yeah, and the structures use agum. They're also called as sex pili. We did it right last time to recognize the. So in the pili, bacteria you find this kind of M13 phage vector. So you can see
For
the genome.
conjugation.
Enema?
For conjugation.
Conjugation, yes. So this is the M13 phage pili, circular DNA. It consists of 6407 base pairs. So 6407 base pairs. Foreign DNA it can be inserted inside without disrupting any of the genes. Endha genes disrupt pannama apdiye insert pannalam. So this is the specific of M13-1. Okay, and after the M13 phage, it enters the DNA. So in the DNA, if it enters the bacterial cell, it will immediately change into a double-stranded structure. So it will immediately change into a double-stranded structure. So this is the life cycle we are talking about. It will immediately convert the DNA of the bacterial cell into a double-stranded molecule, which is nothing but the replicative form of the replication is going on. It is called the replicative form, or RF. That's the name given to the replication factor or form, which replicates until there are 100 copies produced in the same cell. So M13 or 100 copies it can actually replicate itself. Okay. Now coming to the next one, which is called as cosmid vector. So cosmid vector are the specifications. So what are the specifications of cosmid vector? Cosmid vector are constructed by combining features of plasmid and the cos sites of phage lambda. Rendu setu or combination factor. Okay. So this is called a cosmid vector. Example of a cosmid vector. So we have something called C2RB. C2RB, example of a cosmid vector. And so this is the structure of a cosmid vector. Okay, it is a combination of both the phage, the lambda, as well as the plasmid one. And the simplest cosmid vector contains a plasmid origin of replication. It has a special marker on the gene. It has a selectable marker. It has a suitable restriction enzyme. So you have all these restriction enzyme sequences, combination sites. So the cos sites, which have the blunt ends, you can see it here, it's called the cos site. The lambda length the cos site, which are blunt ends. And cosmids can be used to clone 2 DNA fragments up to 45 kbp base pairs. Okay, total 45 kbp in length. We can use it to form fragments. And they can be packed in the form of lambda particles, and the material what is replicated can be packed in lambda particles. And this is more efficient than plasmid membranes. So in the cosmid vectors do a more efficient job when compared to that of lambda. How they replicate, you can see the cloning, the target DNA, and they produce chains by using blunt ends from the bacteriophages. This is your cosmid structure. Okay, next coming to bacterial artificial chromosome. What is artificial chromosome? It is a vector which is present or based on natural extra chromosomal plasmid. Extra chromosomal plasmid we saw. So adu mela vanda vector which is there of E. coli. So that is BAC. Okay, BAC. So I'm sharing the BAC also for you. So this is your BAC vector. So in the vector vandu irukra edam vandu extra chromosomal plasmid of E. coli which works on it, and BAC vector also contains genes. All these are genes, you can see, which is for replication, maintenance of a factor which is called as F factor, and a selectable marker and a cloning site. So you have all these markers, sites, which are all used for BAC, bacterial artificial chromosome vector. Either one, they can accommodate up to 300 to 350 kilobase pairs of foreign DNA material, and also they are used in genome sequencing projects. They are used in genome sequencing projects. So all these are different specifications of the BAC. Okay, now, yaru ma tolla? Somebody is writing tolla. Coming to yeast artificial chromosome. Yeast artificial chromosome is used to clone. Neither is niya. Unakku tollaiya irukka? Yeast artificial chromosome can clone DNA fragments up to 1 MB, okay, in size, and they have been used extensively in marking bigger chromosomes. That is the human genome product or the project. Okay, human genomes specify pandradhukku we use this BAC factor. Okay, that's another one. In the vectors, they contain something called telomeric sequence. What do you mean by telomeric sequence? Telomeric sequence is na? Sorry guys. Telomeric sequence is another ma. One second, I'm showing you the picture of it. One second, I'm just showing the picture, please, of IAC. So this is YAC. You can see 1 MB. It contains the telomeric sequence, the centromere. It has the autonomously replicating sequence from yeast chromosomes. It has an area where it automatically replicates itself. So that's the chromosome here. And they also contain restriction enzymes and genes which are used as selectable markers. All these sequences are for YAC vectors. So you didn't answer me, what is telomeric sequence? So telomeric sequence are genetically modified chromosomes or which are from the DNA of the yeast. Okay. So because they are derived from the DNA of yeast, they are called as telomeric kind of sequence. Next, coming to phagamid vectors. Phagamid vectors, a composite structure made up of bacteriophage and a plasmid together. It's a combination of a bacteriophage and a plasmid, and they are used to carry the bigger or the longer bacterial DNA sequences. Now coming to the animal and plant viral vectors. You have animal and plant viral vectors. Hello? Which can be used to induce foreign material or DNA into plant and animal cells. So examples of virus, Simian virus 40, used in the cloning experiment of mammalian cells in 1979. So it was used in mammalian cells. So you have retroviral vectors, which are commonly used vectors for cloning in mammalian cells. Retroviral vectors, that's the name given. Now, transposon, DNA sequences which change the location in the genome. So they keep changing the location. So when they change, they are said to be mobile or also called as transposon. So transposon is the DNA which keeps moving from place to place, changing the location on the particular genome. Now, if the factor it can be exercised to use the change from one locus to another, and they can be inserted in a separate locus. Locus to locus change, we can use this. And even the vectors are used for this transposon. So the activator AC and dissociation DS are popular transposons of maize, which are also called as ACDS elements. It is used in maize, and the transposons of Drosophila are known as P elements. Okay. So coming to shuttle vectors. Shuttle vectors used to replicate only in Escherichia coli, and many of them are used in eukaryotic cells. So the plasmid vectors which can replicate only in E. coli, we call them as shuttle vectors. Example, Agrobacterium tumefaciens called TI plasmid, which is used as modified as a vector. So shuttle vectors and characteristics. What are the characteristics of a cloning vector? Origin of replication, where it starts is very important, and the origin will make the format. Origin vechina, we will know how many copies they can actually make. So origin is important. Selectable marker. What do you mean by selectable marker? So they make an antibiotic resistant gene to identify in that particular place. So they can code for antibiotics like tetracycline, ampicillin, kanamycin, and chloramphenicol. All these are used. Now, recognition sites. Once it is recognized, the sites are known. They will start recognizing the particular cloning sites. Okay, and the cloning sites are also called as the recognition sites. And most vectors contain a way of doing this. Okay, they use several enzymes in a small region, and they are referred to as polylinker of multiple cloning. They use many things at the same time, many vectors at the same time. So we call it as polylinker or multiple cloning. Cloning site, MCS. Now, next is competent host. Or a particular null host you should know to replicate, how to do it in recombinant DNA. So transformation, where you pick up the DNA fragment and then you use it in a particular host. Hostla vandu transform pannu. Recombinant DNA. So adukku vandu or competent you need a host. So host ku thevapadra vandu specific concentration of divalent cations, and it also needs calcium, which increases the efficiency of DNA entering into the particular host, which is a bacterium. Okay. Now, once the host is known from where it is taken, now selection of recombinant clones. So whenever you are using the recombinant DNA to use it for another kind of bacterium, we take the following types of cells: non-transformed cells, transformed cells, and transformed cells having recombinant DNA. What do you mean by vectorless gene transfer? What is vectorless gene transfer? Vectorless gene transfer is without a vector.
Help of vector.
Yeah, we just need a certain kind of carrier molecules to do that. Microinjection. Foreign DNA is injected into the nucleus of an animal cell, especially in oocytes, eggs, and embryo. Electroporation. Method where electrical impulses are used to transfer into the pores of the cell membrane, through which the DNA molecules are sent into that particular plant cell. So electrical impulses through the pores, that is electroporation. Gene gun or ballistic. What is a gene gun or a ballistic one? Gene gun pellets, microscopic pellets of gold or tungsten is coated on the DNA of size 1 to 2 micrometers in literally shot with a high velocity into. So you are shooting it with the DNA being coated with a pellet of gold or tungsten into the target cells. So it is developed for plants, but this technique is not yet known for the animal cells. It is not there. Direct DNA injection, injecting into the skeletal muscles in the form of vaccine. So this is the one which we call it as genetic immunization. So genetic immunization, direct DNA வந்து inject பண்றது into the skeletal muscle. Okay. Now coming to what is called as gel electrophoresis. What do you mean by gel electrophoresis?
Agrocell.
Yeah, the DNA fragments which are formed, இதுக்கப்புறமா அது restriction in cut பண்ணி fragments are formed. Now these fragments are separated by a technique called electrophoresis. Okay, so it will separate under the direction of the electrode, just like what you do for electrolysis. Will separate the genetic material using the electrically charged poles, opposite charged poles. Okay, the most commonly used matrix in this electrophoresis is agarose gel, which is a polysaccharide extracted from seaweeds. And DNA fragments separate according to the sizes and they filter out through the pores of the agarose gel. Okay, and either one the separated DNA fragments will be seen only after you stain the particular material with a compound called as ethidium bromide. Stain pannaprama da and recognition nadakum. That too when you expose it to ultraviolet radiations. Okay, and now this separated bands, so you have separated it right onto the particle size into bands. In the bands are cut from the agarose gel and they are extracted from the gel pieces. In the step of extracting, we call it as elution. So elution is to obtain it from the agarose cell gel after the technique is processed. Okay. So next one will be so what is the process of this technology? First, you isolate the genetic material DNA with the help of restriction enzymes. Okay, in the enzymes, in the restricted enzymes, you remove the restriction, you find the material, and then it is transferred to release DNA from the macromolecules. So macromolecules in RNA, proteins, polysaccharides, lipids, etc. So you open the cell and then you remove all these structures. Now this can be achieved by treating the bacterial cells with a lysozyme. So isolation is done by a lysozyme or a cellulase or by a chitinase in the case of fungus. Okay. If RNA which is removed by treatment with ribonucleases, whereas proteins can be removed by proteases. So idella on the process of isolating the genetic material. And cutting of DNA at specific locations. Either one the restrictions enzymes will do that. we already know what is agarose gel electrophoresis. You specify the correct places where it has to be cut, and it prepares something called a recombinant DNA. Once it is cut, it is joined to form a recombinant DNA. Now, amplification of a gene of interest using PCR technology. PCR is polymerase chain reaction, which is a technique of bringing out multiple copies of the same gene. Right, amplification of the gene is done by using multiple copies produced from the same genetic material. So this technique was given by Carey Mullis, and it is based on a principle that DNA molecule, when it is subjected to high temperature, will split into two strands because of denaturation. So nariya high temperature la irundha denature aidum and the DNA, so it will split into two. Okay. And the single-stranded DNA molecules will be converted back to the original double-stranded by using DNA polymerase. And then you repeat the process several times, and what you do, you duplicate the multiple copies. This is what you do in this technique. Now, for this, you need a DNA template where you need a target cell or target DNA molecule. You need two nucleotide primers. Two nucleotide primers of 10 to 18 nucleotides, which are complementary to the sequences. And then you need an enzyme to do this, which can actually survive at high temperatures, that is 90 degrees. So stable DNA polymerase or Taq polymerase for the synthesis of DNA molecules. So idella irundada you have this PCR technology or polymerase chain reaction technology. So where this is applied? Where do you see the applications of PCR? PCR is used in diagnosis of pathogen, specific mutations, DNA fingerprinting, specific microorganisms, prenatal diagnosis, okay, and diagnosis of plant pathogens, paleontology, and gene therapy. So you find application in all these patterns. And now, denaturation. What do you mean by denaturation? Denaturation is another. The mixture, what you got it, reaction is heated to a very high temperature, 90 to 98, commonly 94, so that the DNA will separate itself into two strands, other denaturation. So each single strand will act as a template for DNA synthesis. Separate pandradhukku indha technique. Now what is primer annealing? Ipa vanda mixture vandu apparama we cool it down to 40 to 60 degrees so that it permits the annealing of the primer to the complementary sequences. That means the sequences which are located from 3 end. Okay. So you pull down. So that is primer annealing. Why do we do? Why do we do primer annealing? Why do we do this primer annealing? எதனால பண்ணுவோம் இந்த annealing? எதனால யூஸ்ஃபுல் இது? To copy DNA polymerases, so that you need a short sequences. You do that because you can use a short sequence DNA. Okay, adanala we use this primer annealing. Then what else is there? Where is Taq polymerase isolated from? It is isolated from a bacterium called Thermus aquaticus, which remains active during the high temperatures. It's a kind of polymerase which also remains active in high temperatures. Then downstream processing. Okay, what is recombinant protein? Recombinant protein another. If a protein encodes a gene encoding a gene, a protein which encodes a gene in a heterologous host, a different host. We call it as a recombinant protein. So, on the protein or the genes in a different host, it's called recombinant protein. And any protein, any cell will have an active lag or an exponential phase. And lag exponential phases, we already did that. The stopping phase and the exponential, the growth phase, we call the exponential phase. And what are bioreactors or fermenters? So bioreactors or fermenters are vessels in which the raw materials are directly converted into specific products by microbes. So vessel, raw materials in which you are converting them in directly into microbes by enzymes or any kind of microorganisms. What the most common type of bioreactor it is called as the stirring type. Okay, it has a fermenter for a batch culture fermentation process. Okay, and okay, downstream processing. Okay, why do we need this bioreactors? Fermenters ke useful. What is it used for? What are these bioreactors
vessel.
for? Idina nama useful. What is it used for?
Enzymes interact with the substrate to produce the required product.
Culturing, the fermentation done to culture aerobic cells. Okay, so it is used in plant biotechnology actually. Converting of the materials into different products or enzymes. Okay, using enzymes and all these things, you are converting the raw material into different kinds of products which are used for plant biotechnology. Okay, so what is downstream processing? Downstream processing is the recovery.
All the process after the fermentation process.
After the fermentation, fully grown modified cells, the recover pandrathu we call it as downstream processing. It is also purification and preservation. Rendu procedures are there. Okay. So, one product to product, the downstream processing varies. The amount which is extracted varies from product to product. And okay. So with this, I finished one unit of applications of biotechnology, principles ella mudinjichu. Next one will be using the technologies in agriculture, industrial. That's the page. So we'll finish it in the. Okay, applications of biotechnology. So where do we see? Okay, who is the father of Green Revolution? Green Revolution father in India.
M.S. Swaminathan.
M.S. Swaminathan. International level. Norman Borlaug. He is called the father of not Indian revolution, but the altogether world revolution. Okay. So Green Revolution or the main object was to increase the yield and the food products which were necessary for the growing population. So in the biotechnology, it gave an upthrust to the production of products so that the population can be fed on a larger scale. So this is the Green Revolution. So you look at something called genetically modified crops. What are genetically modified crops? Genes alter panni, modify panni, products increase pandradhukku, you use them as genetically modified crops. Okay. So genetically modified crops they made crops which can withstand stress, cold, and the temperature, எல்லாமே வந்து withstand பண்றதுக்கு different types of varieties. Then they have reduced reliance on chemical pesticides. They don't have to rely on that particular one. BT cotton, yes, example. And mineral usage வந்து efficient use பண்ற crops, so that there is no exhaustion of the fertility of the soil. Minerals correct use பண்றது. Then nutritional value increase பண்றதுக்கு. So all these factors were put forward in genetically modified crops. Huh? Okay, vitamin A enriched rice. Rice la vitamin A add panni, we made them as genetically modified crops. So transgenic plants. What do you mean by transgenic plants? So transgenic plants are obtained by the combination of tissue culture and genetic engineer. Rendu mix panni, we get transgenic. So either one, they have a natural resistance to herbicides and pests. That means they will not react to these kind of external fertilizers or any pesticides. Okay, in the vector which was introduced for the new genes to plant cells is generally a plasmid material. So plasmid da use pannirkom. Adu vandu the TI plasmid, which is taken from Agrobacterium tumefaciens. So we are taking it from then, we call it as TI plasmid, tumor inducing plasmid. And it is used, that is the plasmid which is used for producing transgenic plants. For using this particular TI plasmid, so they have to eliminate the tumors from that particular plant, and they have to transfer the DNA into the plant cells. So the genetic engineering purposes kenna pannirukanga, Agrobacterium strains which are developed in that particular genes, they were deleted so that they can transform this bacteria directly into the plant cells. So the nodules mari irukra the tumors vandu remove pannittu, they deleted it. Now they transform this particular bacteria which can directly infect the plant cells, not only that particular portion. So you are culturing it, you are differentiating it into different plants. Once you are inserted this particular DNA, and you are getting the plant which is used or inserted by this particular DNA. So idu vandu neenga transfer pannittu, you carry this particular gene from plant to plant to give out to new plants of the same type. Okay, example first one is BT cotton. BT cotton is an insect resistant plant. So soil bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis produces proteins which kill insects like Lepidopterans, tobacco budworms, armyworms, beetles, diphterians, that is flies, mosquitoes, and all these things. So in the ellame vandu they give out a toxic insecticidal protein. So in the BT toxin, protein exists as an inactive protoxin, but one or the insect vandu ingest pannichina bodane it becomes into an active form of toxins because of the pH in the alimentary canal of that particular insect. Appo enna nadakum, in the activated toxin vandu it will bind, the activated toxin will bind to the midgut of this particular one. It causes swelling or lysis and death of the insect. Okay.
అందుకు వచ్చిరువా
BT toxins are insect group specific. The toxin is coded by a gene which is called as CRY. There are numerous genes which are isolated from this. 2 CRY genes, CRI 1AC, CRI 2SB, which have been incorporated into cotton. So these are genetically modified crop which is called as BT cotton plants. They become resistant to particular. Voice is breaking. So I said CRY 1AC, 2AB, all these are incorporated in BT cotton plants. Okay, and they become resistant to insects like corn borers. Corn borers lend, they can protect themselves, and even from cotton bollworms. And the ball in the cotton or the material. So the flowers or fruits of the cotton. So you can escape diseases from that particular one also. Now coming to the pest resistant plants. A nematode, Melodigna incognita, it will infest the root of tobacco plants. It causes a reduction in the yield. So to prevent this, RNA interference is the phenomenon by which a gene is introduced in the production of sense and antisense RNA. What is sense RNA? What is antisense RNA? Sense and antisense, என்னதுமா? What is the meaning? What is sense RNA? Yeah, they are complementary protein coding strands which are done in translation. Sense and we have something called antisense. Okay. Transcription la vandu recognize pandra sites, RNA sequence. Applications of this particular biotechnology, the protein heridin is taken out from leech. It is used in preventing blood clotting, and it was chemically injected or synthesized and introduced in Brassica napus. So Brassica napus seeds they came to have heridin, which could be extracted and purified and used for this purpose. So I have injected this into the plant. Flavor Saver tomato was the first transgenic variety to reach the market. Idila you find the inactivation of gene which produces polygalactourinase enzyme, and because the enzyme was essential for degradation of cell wall degradation nadakama tadukkuradhukku called Flavor Saver enzyme tomato. Golden rice, a transgenic variety of Rhiza sativa, which contains beta carotene and provitamin A and inactive state of vitamin A. Ellame vandu idhula irukku. Now, production of value-based products. To increase nutrients and all these things, you call something called molecular farming. Innum break agudama? Is it still breaking?
பூ சாப்பிட்டேன் பேசிட்டு என்ன
Hello? It's breaking.